Okay, so let me get a sense. How many of you have used or are planning to use WordPress? And how many of you have used some sort of shared hosting someplace? And rest of you guys using DigitalOcean or what? Where do you run your WordPress? And what about you guys? You're talking about, you've used WordPress, right? Where have you run it? On a shared hosting or? Okay. So guys, I'm going to give us a brief introduction on how to scale up your WordPress on DigitalOcean. Now, all these learnings, they can be translated into pretty much anything and any platform. So let's get started. So first thing, when we talk about scaling, we have to talk about cache. Sorry, not this one, but this kind of cache. And it essentially, what it does is converts a dynamic page into static. So you know how WordPress works? There's a PHP code, it goes to database, gets the data, renders a HTML page and serves it. Now this process doesn't scale. ठीक है? जब हम scale करने की बात कर रहे हैं अपने WordPress को, so this dynamic process has to be removed. For that, we do cache. And in WordPress, the simplest way is to get a bunch of plugins. So these two are my favorite ones, W3 Total Cache and WP Super Cache, and there are tens of more you will find. Any place you are running your WordPress, may it be shared hosting, some other server, just get these plugins, and essentially what they'll be able to do is, first they'll create a page cache. So anytime your visitor goes to WordPress, it will have sort of pre-created version of that page which it will serve, and that will be super fast. It will minify and compress all those CSS and JavaScript files, and there's a database caching it will do. It will manage the headers of all the pages, and they typically also do CDN integration. You guys know what CDN is? So that is something very, very critical, not just for performance, but also for scaling, because once you offload certain queries to a CDN, your server gets less requests and it is able to scale much faster. Next is, so typically what I see everybody doing is, because WordPress is so easy, they typically start out with a shared hosting or they run it with something else. So while you start the scaling journey of WordPress, move it to a separate VM, and since we are at a DigitalOcean event, move it to a separate droplet. And once you start moving it to a separate droplet, what you will be able to do is configure a stack which is perfect for WordPress. So these are a few of my recommendations. So first, how many of you know about Nginx as a web server and Apache? Yeah, so Nginx is a web server similar to Apache, but it was just basically built for performance, and it sort of has a different development philosophy. So it's sort of event driven based, which allows it to be a lot function very beautifully at scale. So it really scales well. In MySQL, so you must have heard of MySQL when it was bought by Oracle. So there's a fork that's called MariaDB, and then there's another fork called PerconaDB. So when you're building anything for scale, and this is not just for WordPress, any LAMP stack application you're building, anyway you're using MySQL, just try to replace it with PerconaDB. PerconaDB is a drop-in replacement of MySQL. So there's no coding or no feature which will be missing. It will just be more performant. Then use Varnish, use Redis for caching. So Redis is a sort of an in-memory caching layer, and it basically, all the caching which was, we were talking about the plugin which was doing, it will save here and it will be much more performant. Use PHP op cache, PHP FPM, and by the way, PHP 7. So earlier there was a thing called HHVM, Hip Hop VM, that was basically built by Facebook guys, and it sort of took the PHP 5 and made it much more performant by sort of having a just-in-time compilation. Now all those philosophies have been brought into PHP 7, and boy, that is really, really performant. So any code which you have in PHP 5 or an older version, just try to move it to PHP 7. WordPress itself supports it. Pretty much all the good themes and plugins are supporting it. And also move to HTTP 2. So again, that will allow you to take a lot more performance out of it. So just by using this stack and doing things the right way, even a small DigitalOcean droplet would be able to serve thousands of visitors concurrently, possibly easily. Now, if you want to do more, so in last session we were talking about like horizontal versus vertical scaling. How many of you guys know what the difference is between horizontal and vertical scaling? Okay, let me give you a basic idea. This is going to come in very handy. So I know a lot of you guys are developers or wanting to become developers, and any decent developer should understand the basic differences, because this is something which you are going to do your entire life. Vertical scaling is essentially getting a bigger and fatter server to do your job. So it's a single server, whatever code you have, just keep on getting a bigger server till it hits basically the limits of the vendor. They are basically simple to manage, and now with DigitalOcean we get like 2 vCPU, 4 GB RAM you can start with for a WordPress of that stack, and it goes up to 32 vCPU and 192 GB RAM. So there is a lot of room to grow. So any sort of scaling can easily be done by vertical scaling, and it is less prone to error. So when it's just a single machine, it will be able to scale much better. So that is something which I recommend to anybody who's just starting out, and it works. For everybody else who wants some sort of high availability, so there you want to be, because in vertical scaling, you had a single point of failure. If that particular machine goes down, whatever you have done, it stops working. In horizontal scaling, you can have those sort of failovers. So whatever application you have will not fail. It is a bit more complex, and you really have to know what you're doing. So it's not like you build out an architecture and it'll work. And it is also elastic compatible. So with vertical scaling, again, the problem is if you increase size of a VM, it basically runs like that only. It's not easy to scale it down or scale it up on fly. Horizontal scaling, if you build the architecture right, it can scale very nicely. A couple of pro tips in that. So with DigitalOcean, you always should use the DigitalOcean monitoring, use their cloud firewalls, and also definitely use the team management. So I've seen in companies, there's a single sysadmin who has developed the entire thing, and he's on a leave, the system goes for a toss, and nobody has access to it. So you don't share passwords, use Teams, and everybody gets their own account. Also use backups. A lot of time I see people have just deployed their application and they forgot to configure backups. And sometimes disaster happens and there's nothing. And also floating IPs. Floating IPs will allow you to basically spin up another VM and assign that IP. It will allow much faster, it will basically not hamper your DNS propagation time. One very important suggestion in DigitalOcean vertical scaling is do not upgrade the disk until you really need it. Because what happens is when you scale, it will give you an option to upgrade just the CPU and the RAM. I'm not sure if it's visible properly. So there are two options when you're scaling up your droplet. CPU and RAM, and then CPU, RAM and disk. Mostly while upgrading, you generally would need only CPU and RAM upgrades. Storage is not something you suddenly need. Why is that? Because then you are not able to scale down. So if tomorrow you say take a 2 vCPU, 4 GB RAM and upgraded it for a single day, you could go back next day, downgrade it. If and only if you didn't upgrade the storage, which you anyways do not need. So let me give you a bit of a brief introduction on a few architectures on horizontal scaling. Again, like I told you, WordPress these will work, but any other application also which you are developing or planning to build, you can have these sort of considerations there. So, सबसे basic, push out the database. So in the last stack, we had app and database in a single server. Just set up a different database server. It will allow you to sort of almost double the capacity. Here, there's another pro tip. Always use private network. So the communication which is happening between the app and the DB server, make sure it happens on the private network. I have seen a lot of people जो app DB अलग-अलग configure कर देंगे, but eventually the communication will be happening on public network. That's a terrible thing to do. That's absolutely not secure, and it's a basic feature of the platform. So always use private network. ये second architecture. Yeah. No, so you'll be using so in DigitalOcean, I believe there's an option to enable private networking. It'll give you two private IPs. Use those for communication between your app and DB. Because it'll be much lower latency, you'll get higher performance. B, it'll be much secure because it is not traveling through any public network. Yeah. And you also don't have to pay for the bandwidth, because if you route it through public network, again, they'll bill you for bandwidth. Now, so this was a simple architecture. Let's make it a little more complex. Now, we have a single database. Now, we want to set up two application servers. Okay? For setting up these two application servers, we will have to introduce a load balancer. Now, load balancer can be done in two ways. One, I highly recommend HA proxy. It's very easy to configure, very performant, get a small VM, and you can do that. Second option is, which DigitalOcean guys recently launched, is load balancer. It is also, I believe, built on top of HA proxy, but the good part is, it's really hard to screw up a managed service. Also, they have taken care of the redundancy themselves. So, because in HA proxy, if you're setting up a single server, if that goes down, your entire stack is inaccessible. So, for load balancer, use DigitalOcean load balancer. So, you can see two app servers, and there's a single database. Now, when you start using two app servers, now you will start getting the feeling of complexity and the challenges. Why? Because in WordPress, any image you upload, it is saved on the server. Now, imagine a user being connected to app server 1, he uploads the image and that image is just on app server 1. Other one goes to app server 2. So, to solve that, you will have to use some sort of shared file storage. There are a couple of ways of doing that. One is, you can have a sort of a synchronization script for keeping both servers' files in sync. So, there are a couple of options, Unison, rsync. My personal suggestion is, spin up another VM, use their block storage, have all the files on that and mount it to both servers. Mount it via NFS, so performance is pretty good. And then if you want to have app server 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it can easily scale. So you just have to use the same image, keep on replicating it. Again, so now there's also a challenge that single server became a single point of failure for you. So again, you will have to try and set up a redundancy for that. So that's what I was telling. So जब भी आप इस type की scaling पे आएंगे, the complexity would increase exponentially. You will have to know what you are doing, and you'll have to secure each and every component. There's another architecture for getting out more performances. I've introduced a cache server. So like there's another single database server which is being accessed by all the app servers. There's a shared file server. Let's also introduce a caching server. Remember the Redis we talked about in the perfect stack? So put that Redis on the cache server. Again, it increases the performance because the app servers again have to do a lot less. And last, this is sort of the most complicated architecture. When you, so here, when we start hitting the limits of a single database server, then we have to sort of figure out the replication for database. Now you have to be really careful, because doing database replication can be really hard, and it is very easy to mess it up. Because there are certain scenarios, say for example, there's a thing called split brain scenario, where the synchronization between both the database servers fail, and separate data is being written on both servers. It is very hard to again synchronize those. So there are certain practices which you can follow. I typically recommend is having one as master, other as slave. So you route all your writes to the master and all your reads to the slave. So these kind of scenarios you can do, and for the increase. I'll personally tell you, so in WordPress there are very few sites which will have to reach this level of complexity, but any other applications which you guys are going to build, they will start to have this kind of architecture from day one. And again, a pro tip here, always try and do load test. So what happens is, आपने जो भी architecture भी build किया था, यहाँ तक लाने के लिए, it was for a certain application. Now, anytime you did an upgrade, anytime you did a new plugin install, any modification you did, it can have major impact on the capacity. So always try to do load testing. It's a good habit to form into the development process. Again, not just for WordPress, but pretty much any development you do. Plenty of tools out there. Some suggestions would be, the most simplest is Apache Bench. Then there's Apache JMeter, which allows you to write a lot detailed tests. Then there's a product called Gatling. My favorite for beginners is loader.io. It's their free tier is, they have a free, it's a cloud-based service. I think 10,000, so you can test any website for 10,000 connections. Trust me, even the best configured on a shared hosting would crash the server. So run it very carefully, but it's a very, very free of cost and a good way to start. And so I see my time's up. And just to summarize, we learned the importance of caching, then moving on a single server, how to use the optimized stack, vertical scaling, how to use bigger servers, and then the idea of horizontal scaling, how to use clusters, and the basic idea between load testing and benchmarking. With that, thank you everyone.